All right, so actually I'm going to go ahead and start. While we wait for other people to join, I think that would be a good opportunity to do a quick recap of what DataHawk is, as I'm seeing that there are a few attendees with us today that are maybe discovering DataHawk for the first time. So in today's webinar, everyone, we're going to talk about the power of AI. And of course, we had to jump the AI bandwagon here at DataHawk, and we made a lot of significant strides on that front. We're really big believers in the importance of leveraging AI to enhance one's operations, notably as a brand. And I'm very excited to show you today, either for the first time for some of you, or maybe for a second time for some others, what DataHawk can help you with in terms of enhancing your productivity and performance using AI. And just as a quick reminder as to what DataHawk is and what we do. So we're an e-commerce analytics platform, and we help brands and agencies of all sizes, but really those that have kind of reached the limitations of existing traditional solutions and reached maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 million in annual sales and are looking for better systems and processes. We help those businesses better unify their e-commerce data from multiple channels, but most importantly, Amazon, and turn it into actionable insights and recommendations. Our platform is very scalable. We process billions in advertising data and transactional data, and dozens, if not hundreds of millions in keywords and products. And one of the biggest things we focus on is being extremely exhaustive in terms of data collection. So there are really a lot of metrics that we collect. And as a way to quickly summarize what we do, there are data sources, as I mentioned, that we pull data from, like Amazon in every single market where they are, and Walmart, but also some on-demand sources. And I take the opportunity to send a quick shout out and call out to anyone interested in joining our beta program on these on-demand sources like Shopify and others. Please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. We'd love to onboard you there. So as we pull data from these sources, we collect it, but we also store it and augment it with additional KPIs and scores that we compute ourselves. And what's unique about our approach is that we value data ownership, and all of our partners and customers value data ownership. And what's unique about DataHawk as such is that all of this data, we make it available for you on a database on either Snowflake or BigQuery that we manage and maintain for you. And this is extremely valuable because from there on, you're able to connect this database to any system you like to use. We have people with us today who are using DataHawk on Power BI, who are using it on NetSuite, who are using it on even Google Sheets, Excel, or Looker Studio, and they're using it to build fully custom dashboards that are tailored to their use cases and the way they like to analyze data and look at it. And beyond this kind of DIY approach of building your own dream dashboard, we also offer some ready-to-use templates. And we have the team, Justine's teams, notably, that helps with paid customization projects. And this comes on top of other apps that we have that are going to be the topic of today's discussion, that notably revolve around leveraging AI. And before jumping into today's webinar around AI, these are just the areas that DataHawk helps cover in terms of data sets and use cases or kind of teams. There's anything pertaining to search and SEO, anything pertaining to content and product data, competition, advertising, financial performance, and lastly, inventory. And just before diving into today's topic of the AI promise, I'd like again to thank you all for joining us today. With me, I have Pierre from our strategic account and sales team, and Justine, who leads our professional services team. So, Pierre, what do you think? We shall start with maybe having a quick chat about why we believe that AI just has a massive promise, and all businesses should definitely look into that in a stronger way than just a fun thing to look at or play with.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, yesterday I saw an article on how small businesses are now using AI. I think it was a study from Constant Contact or something that worked with a lot of small businesses. We all hear it in the news, right? And I think that just because news likes to make things seem scary. We have to embrace this. It's not going away. It provides a tremendous amount of value, and it's constantly improving. And we all know if you ask Alexa or Siri a question and you get a kind of a crazy answer, and a lot of it is just lack of data. And so what we do is we leverage that technology, and then we're going to show you that, and then enrich it even further with the specific data that we have around search and around categories and around best performing products and things. And so it has to be embraced, because it's not something that's going to eliminate jobs and that sort of stuff, but really give you opportunity to better manage time, and get better results at the end of the day. And that's what it's all about.
And if we take a step back, actually, speaking as to what make it, I think, come to the fore and be much more democratized and popular, eventually it's been ChatGPT, right? And when you look at the progress that's been made, it's insane how it happened in a concentrated period of time, right? But in truth, it's been since maybe the 60s or 70s or something like that, that there's been strides on that front. But truly, it has been over the past 2 or 3 years that we've seen a massive leap. So just a quick history lesson on GPT and ChatGPT, since I think it's what everyone here is familiar with. So it was back in June 2020 that actually GPT-3 was released. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It's what's called a large language model, meaning that it uses a massive amount of data sets, actually 175 billion parameters. But it's truly been, I think, March 2022 and maybe even November 2022 that made everyone out there familiar with AI and ChatGPT and more concrete use cases that one can have for it. And so ChatGPT was released in November. Barely a month later, it reached 100 million users. And a few months ago, March 2023, GPT-4 was released. And Pierre, you briefly mentioned kind of the fear factor, right? And alluded to AI replacing our jobs or stuff like that. But truth be told, I think with every new massive kind of technological improvement that has happened, whether it's fire or transportation or planes or internet, there's always been this kind of similar fear factor. But the reality has been that each new massive technological shift like that has also brought about massive productivity gains and massive opportunities, especially actually for small businesses and startups, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's what. Yeah. Good.
And I like this. Just 2 quotes here that I think are quite interesting. First one from the CEO of Alphabet: AI could have more profound implications for humanity than electricity or fire. And something that I think is even more important that Peter Diamandis said is that there will be 2 kinds of companies at the end of this decade: those that are fully utilizing AI and those that are out of business. This one is taking it kind of to
that's a scary one.
the
Yeah.
extreme.
Yeah.
And so to introduce DataHawk's AI and what we've been working on that front, I'd just like to kick things off with a quick poll. And I'm curious, to what extent do you guys struggle with keeping track of what's happening across your products because of too many signals, because of the fact that you manage a large catalog, etc.? Pierre, a lot of brands that we talk to have 100, thousands of products, right? And it's even worse if you see how they're performing, not just, they're active not just on Amazon US, but also Canada, Mexico, maybe even pan-European in Europe, etc.
I had a call this morning with someone, 10,000 products that they have in their catalog, and one of their biggest challenges is when a product gets delisted, and they don't find out until days afterwards because they just don't have the resources to monitor this. And we probably missed the email from Amazon, but that said, we need a better way to get alerted and to understand that. And so maybe not the best kind of AI related example, but at the end of the day, it's large catalogs are very difficult to manage with the limited staff that we all have, right? And most companies I talk to with 100 or 200 products, there's 2 people that work on it, and it's not their full-time job in many cases. So
the amount of efforts asked from brand managers is just insane. To your point, many of them manage dozens of millions in sales, or dozens, if not hundreds of products, and it's just unhuman to keep a track of what's happening across every single one, across dozens and dozens of metrics. It's hundreds, if not thousands, of combinations to look at. And so, to share with you the results of the poll, 58% of you are saying that yes, I often miss issues or opportunities, or find out about them multiple days or weeks later. And this is quite interesting, because if you figure out that your organic rank has drastically dropped and you find out about it only months later, that's potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in missed revenues and missed sales, right? Let alone bigger issues around out of stock, around delisting, around many other things. 33% of you said that they somehow struggle with that, and a lucky 8% of you said that they have easy and full visibility into what's happening on a daily basis. All right, so thanks all for that. And typically the reason that it's hard to keep a tab on what to address is that, first of all, it's time consuming, right? When you start your day, you don't know what to start looking at. If you have dozens, hundreds of products, there's just so many signals, and it's hard to scale. Maybe it's easy to do today when you have a smaller catalog, you operate on just a single market. But as you grow in terms of catalog size and in terms of distribution channels as well, that's not something we mentioned, by the way, right? Many brands, we see a lot of Amazon native brands that launch on Amazon. They reach 5, 8, 10 million in annual sales, and then they start expanding into their own D2C store that runs on a Shopify or BigCommerce or something like that, or expand into Walmart or other marketplaces. But the more you do such expansion, multi-channel expansion, the more complex it's going to get, even if you have a small catalog size. Typically this is why we came up with a first innovation here at DataHawk, which is an AI assistant. We thought that the first thing that's important to address and help brands with is more towards the kind of task prioritization aspect, right? If we can call it this way, and helping you know what to focus on as you start your day, right? You just woke up, you just grabbed your cup of coffee, Pierre. What is it that you should look at first, right? What's the most efficient 10 minutes that you can do? What are the most efficient actions that you can do in just 10, 15 minutes? And what we're hearing and seeing as feedback from this feature and product we're about to show you is that brand managers are increasingly leveraging it as the 5 minutes, 10 minutes thing they look at every morning before starting their day. That way they're sure they haven't missed anything critical. And it's not just about issues, it's also about potential opportunities as we're gonna see. And so 2 things that this AI assistant does. The first one is on the anomaly detection front, so helping you prevent missing any potentially critical issue or opportunity. And the second one is on surfacing findings, and we'll have a demo about this later on. Now, the other thing I'm curious about is, of course, how much time do people spend building a product detail page, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that goes into building a product page. Pierre, typically, what would be the first thing you'd look at from your end?
I mean, it's all important. I mean, obviously, title, bullets, descriptions. I want to have the best quality images that I can possibly have, but at least that first image, needs to be golden, and I've got to have a great title, because from an SEO perspective, it's got to be rich. It just can't be 4 or 5 words. And those of you on the call that I've worked with in the past, I always tell you, Amazon gives you the real estate. You need to use it, right? It's there. So there's no excuse to not have the right number of bullets and the right length of title.
So content, by the way, is just one of the many ranking factors. But to your point, if we focused on just content and we want to have the best title, the best description, the best bullet points, the best backend search terms, it all starts, I think, with keyword research, right? It all starts with keyword research, and it all starts with the competitive landscape, right? Because the keyword that's going to be relevant for my product that's priced at a $20 ASP isn't the same keyword that's going to be relevant to my competitor who's selling something competitive to mine, but at a $10 ASP, right? And so there's just a massive trove of data points that need to be gathered and crunched in order to actually come up with, okay, here's the list of the best and most relevant keywords I should use on my product page. And here's the ones I should use in the title, the description, in the bullet points, and so on and so forth. So overall, a lot of data collection, a lot of data crunching, and then a lot of imagination as well, because then you need to sit down and start thinking about what's the best way to write a well-converting copy. So let's share the results, and thanks everyone for sharing your insights here. And I'm gonna share the results. So 50% of you mentioned that they're spending more than 10 hours per month building product detail pages and content. So that's interesting. That's a significant amount of time. And again, it would depend on how many attendees we have are actually spending their focus and time on that, because some are full-time SEO managers and handle the content piece. Others, it's only part of their job. 33% of you mentioned 6 to 10 hours a month, and 17% 2 to 5 hours a month. So it's a significant amount of time that could definitely be optimized. And then the last piece is A/B testing, right? Pierre, it's not really a set it and forget it kind of thing.
No, hell no. You need to search trends change, consumer behavior changes, all of those things happen, and you've got to keep up with it. And it's not just for the products that, well, I think this product should be performing better. It's even for your really well performing products, because there's always opportunity to perform even better.
Yes, exactly. And so I think, you know, it's even more importantly on the front of on the topic of, okay, I came up with the content, I came up with what I think is a good product copy, but who tells me that it's a good product copy? You know, eventually it's the data that's gonna tell it. Eventually it's my conversion rates, it's my sales, it's my click-through rate on keywords and so forth. And there's no way for me to know about if I reach the most optimum version of my product page unless I've actually conducted A/B tests and tried out different copies and seen what sticks. And most importantly, seeing what leads to the best impact on my organic rankings, and hence on my organic traffic, and hence on my organic sales and profitability, right? So let's share the results of the poll. And
you know what stood out for me, and maybe for you, Uthman, is 25% said never.
Never.
Is there a need for it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Eventually, everyone is time constrained for sure, and it's always a matter of balancing priorities. But to the extent that you can, you should, and it's important to A/B test at least during the early days and stages of a product launch. So 67% mentioned that they do it sometimes, and 8% mentioned that they do it very often. And you know, there's this guy called Sean Ellis. He's a growth expert. He launched and scaled multiple companies, and he has this framework, this growth framework that I really like and I'm a fan of, called high tempo testing. And essentially what he's saying is that companies that are successful are the ones that are able to iterate fast and conduct many experiments with a high velocity very often, because that's the way that you find out what sticks and what works. And so I think this kind of a high velocity mindset in terms of also content optimization is something that's important to do. And so why did we also come up with a new innovation at DataHawk that leverages AI on the content optimization front, because we think that the traditional methods are holding you back in terms of growth. Just as we've seen from the result of the poll, not a lot of people are optimizing content on a frequent basis. And the reason is that I think it's time consuming, right? It just takes so much time. And very often it's not consistent, right? The kind of creativity you've had when you came up with a listing copy for a given product last month may not be the same as the one you come up with today. You're not in the same mood, you don't have the same creativity or whatever. Sometimes you also have just inconsistent branding and you're not following the same nomenclature, you're not following the same approach, etc. And also it's just hard because performance may not be there. Not everyone has the same proficiency and skills in terms of conducting keyword research, crunching the data, knowing what signals to use and look at to have the most performing one. And it's hard to scale, right? It's hard to scale. With a team of, just 3-4 brand managers, it's very difficult to be conducting experiments on a weekly or monthly basis on a catalog of hundreds of products, let alone thousands of products. And so that is the reason that at DataHawk, we came up with an AI copywriter to help you accelerate content optimization efforts. So the big innovation that has helped us launch this is large language models, for sure. And on that front, we leverage GPT-4 to help you accelerate content optimization efforts. Now, maybe one first topic to mention on that front is, sure, I've already tried ChatGPT to improve my title or this or that. But the thing is, what's unique about the way we built our AI copywriter is that there's billions of data points that we have that Amazon doesn't have, ChatGPT doesn't have knowledge of, and as such, GPT doesn't have knowledge of. Because remember, we capture data on search results. We capture data on competitors. You take any product on Amazon, we've built algorithms that know what's the competitive landscape of that product. We know keywords they're ranking for. We know Amazon content recommendation guidelines. We track changes in keyword rankings and so on and so forth. So there's just so many signals that we blend together to come up with what we think would be the most impactful title, description, and bullet points. Here you can see a quick screenshot on an Ollie Sleep mattress where you can see the current title. You can see how our AI has suggested an optimized one that's much longer, that makes use of all the characters that we can make use of. We also added some new keywords. You can see here that the keyword platform bed frame wasn't used at all. We used it then twice. This is its estimated search volume, and we can show the impact and uplift that we think this may potentially have. And
yeah, go back for a second, because I think it's super important, right? The product is a bed frame. They're using the search term bed frame once. The optimized page is using it 24 times, right? And then you could see the just monthly estimated search volume just for that search term bed frame. So as Uthman said, right, we're adding so much more data to that algorithm. It's not just the GPT-4 technology, but bringing all that, the DataHawk insights, knowing which search terms generate the most traffic, what your competitors' pages are looking like. So there's a lot built into this beyond just, just the GPT portion. Thank you.
And we're gonna check. That's a good point, Pierre. And we're gonna definitely check a few examples on the live demo we'll do. And just if we summed up, the impact that the AI copywriter can have, for sure, the first piece is just helping brands and brand managers generate better optimized content. But I think that's what's most important is more the second point. It's on the velocity, because it's insane how you can go from spending 10 hours, 5 hours building a product page to just 30 seconds or maybe 5 minutes building one with DataHawk's AI copywriter. And so as you increase this velocity, you can conduct so many additional tests that ultimately are going to lead to a better impact in terms of organic performance. And of course, you can iterate on this, so you can create multiple versions. So now, without further ado, let's jump into the demo. And let me start off by maybe discussing the insights piece, the AI assistant, before talking about the AI copywriter. So first off, it all starts with making sure that one's data is appropriately set up on DataHawk. So just make sure that you've made good use of adding, your products, your relevant keywords, connected your seller accounts or vendor accounts, and your advertising accounts. Once you do so, as we start crunching the data, if you go to the insights module here, so to the left, for those of you that are on our new UI, you're gonna see it here on the apps section. You go into insights, and there you're gonna find all of the insights that we came up with. Overall, there's two main sections, I would say. There's the anomalies and there's the findings. And what I really want to focus on is the anomalies piece. So you can see here that every day I have a bunch of anomalies that have been detected in my account. So you can see here that there's been some anomalies that have been detected in terms of sales rank or bestseller rank in my account here in Amazon US, here in Amazon Italy, and so on and so forth. I don't even have a seller or advertising account connected to this workspace, so I'm missing out on all the anomalies I may get in terms of return on ad spend, units sold, conversion rates, returns, and many other things. And for each anomaly, I can assign it to a specific person from my team so that they can start investigating it. And I may say that I'm actually investigating it, or it's expected, no action is needed, or I've appropriately investigated it. So let's pick a few examples here. I'm actually prepared one here that I want to show to you. So here I have an anomaly that's been detected on bestseller rank, on search rankings, on the search results in Amazon US. So let's check out a few examples. Yeah, there you go. This one is quite interesting. Check this out. So this is a Coser X product, very top skincare brand based out of Korea, I think. And you can see here on the blue line how they're ranking in the search results organically for the keyword skin serum for face. So you can see how it's been pretty consistent. They've been averaging position 3 organically, pretty consistently, which is quite insane. The dotted gray line, which we can barely see since their average is so steady, is actually the 2 weeks moving average. And the blue colored band that you see here is a confidence range. It's a statistical confidence range. So for instance, here on July the 31st, the confidence range was between position 1 and 14. What this means is that our algorithm thinks that it's fine and expected if you stay within that range. However, as soon as you go outside of it, we're going to automatically flag that as a potential anomaly. And typically, that's exactly what happened here on August the 9th. You can see that the product has abnormally dropped to the 44th position. Now, given the confidence range and given its timeline, you can see how that's clearly something off, because we were expecting it to be at the 7th position, but it dropped to the 44th. And the reason that this is extremely impactful is that as a brand manager, I can react and act on this on a much faster way. Maybe in the past, it would have taken me weeks or months to find out about this issue, or I may have entirely missed it. But if I set it as a framework, if I set it as a habit for me to come in and use this AI assistant to find out about those potential anomalies, I can react on a much faster way. I can understand, okay, what is it that happened here that I dropped so much in rankings? Did I run out of stock? Did I increase my pricing? Did I stop bidding on this keyword and it has had such an impact? And so on and so forth. And it's not always negative anomalies that we can detect. Let's actually check a few examples. So on this other one here, retinol cleanser for face, you can see how we don't bother you with changes in performance that stay within the confidence range. However, as soon as it's outside of the confidence range, that's when we deem it to be an anomaly. And something that's worth mentioning here is that this is something that's fully automated, right? We're not talking about an alerting system that requires me to come up with an alert, to think about what I need to set up as an alert. I don't have to. It's smart enough that it adapts automatically. It's smart enough that back in July the 29th here, this product has an expected rank around position 92. And it's very different from the expected rank on a different date. So you see how the band adapts over time with recent changes in performance. And beyond this example, let's just check a few others. So this one was pertaining to search ranking performance, but how about sales rank? Sales rank is also a very interesting one that I like. So we can check out an example here. Okay, and there we go. I have this product here from Neutrogena that I'm tracking in my account, and I can see here its performance in the skincare category. So I think this category is what, 2 levels of depth. You can go as deep as possible. So sometimes you're gonna find 4, 5, 6 levels of depth. And so you can see how it's been performing around position 35 here in BSR, shot up to position 28, pretty consistent between position 20 and 40, let's say. And you can see how in August the 8th, there's an anomaly. It shot up in terms of BSR in an abnormal way. We were expecting it to be at position 30. It shot up to position 18 in terms of sales rank. And we think it's an anomaly given historical trends. And again, here I can start conducting my root cause analysis. What is it that happened that has led to these results? Clearly, an uplift in sales volume. And so what is it that led to that uplift in sales volume, right? Changes in keyword and SEO strategy, advertising strategy, promotions, seasonality, and so on and so forth. But I think where this comes important as well, Pierre, is in terms of planning, right? And when it comes at least to positive anomalies like these ones, if I'm Neutrogena, I can start reacting to this because this is going to have an impact on maybe my procurement strategy and my inventory needs for this product.
Agree, 100%. And then also when you as you understand what's going on, there's other similar products, in the family of hyaluronic acid related products that you need to keep an eye on. And if you made that content improvement or that ran those ads that gave you that pretty significant bump, you got to apply that to your other products as well, right? So it's a learning process there as well, but super important. Ranking well in categories is absolutely critical, not just in that maybe lowest level, but in as many categories as possible.
And I think, we've been talking about this more in terms of how do I leverage these anomalies on my own brand, but keep in mind that it's also something that we detect when it comes to publicly available metrics like BSR and search rankings on your competitors. So if I'm L'Oreal Paris or whichever, I can also detect anomalies on my competitors and maybe adapt my strategy as a result to that, right? And so we looked at 2 examples here. We looked at search ranks and we looked at BSR or sales rank. But Justine, correct me if I'm wrong, the list is very long in terms of additional metrics that we help unveil, things like maybe to mention a few important ones, units sold, right? And so maybe if I came in here and I was selling this product, I would see that there's been probably an anomaly in terms of my units sold at that point in time. But there's also gross sales, return on ad spend, right? That one is very important. Return on ad spend on an account level and on a campaign level, I believe. Ad spend as well, and maybe a few others. I don't know if we do return rates yet or a few other ones like that, but definitely we're expanding this on a continuous basis, and we're going to be hard at work adding additional ones. And maybe if I stopped for a minute there, before moving on to the AI copywriter, Justine, are there things that we'd like to share today in terms of roadmap that we have for this anomaly detection engine?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So obviously, all these anomalies are super insightful because they help you pinpoint where there's a problem. But then the next question you can ask is, of course, why do I have this problem? What's the root cause of it? So what the team is working on at the moment is developing the root cause and analysis of these anomalies. It's very early stage for now, but it's showing great results. So we're quite confident we can move forward on this one. And the idea will be to give you a list of reasons why this anomaly has happened. Let's say you had a problem with the, I don't know, gross sales. Could it be because you had a decrease in reviews? Could it be any other metric evolution that impacted these gross sales? And that would help you know what's the best course of action to take next.
Amazing. So typically I can come in and see that there was an anomaly in keyword rankings or something like that. And then the system would automatically tell me that we think that this is due and correlated to maybe this particular KPI that has changed. It happened because your keyword ranking has dropped on this keyword or because of that, right?
Exactly. And we're going to go quite granular in the reason. So it's not only going to be what metric happened, but also which products are concerned, which region, could be your customers' behaviors. It can go broad. We're currently testing on a handful of metrics, and we're happy also to have conversations with users who could be interested in exploring this with us and sort of brainstorming it with you. So if you have an account, if you're interested in building this with us, we are always looking for beta users to cooperate and collaborate on this.
Awesome. Thank you, Justine. And so if anyone would like to have maybe a better access on that front and a glimpse at what it looks like, also, we're very keen to have your feedback, so don't hesitate to reach out to our team. Just something I want to mention as well that I actually like to use here, as you start getting a lot of insights, sometimes it's helpful to come in here and maybe apply filters, right? Maybe you want data only on advertising or data only on search related insights. So you can always make use of these filters or the search bar here to show only insights that may be relevant to what you're looking for, right? As a reminder, again, all of these insights are fully automated, right? And when it comes to the anomalies, you don't need to think about what you should set up. It's configuration-less to some extent, right? You don't need to configure anything there.
Yeah, I kind of call it a passive alert, if you will. It's something that, right, like Othman said, you don't have to set it up, and it's very easily accessible if you're using the platform. If you're on using our new dashboards in Power BI, there's a button. You click the button, and it brings you right here, and it's a great place way to start your day.
Yep.
First 10 minutes in the morning.
Yeah, and then besides this anomaly detection piece, there's also this findings piece. It's a little bit less advanced than the anomalies, but maybe we can show a few quick examples of what it looks like. Here I have a digest here, a weekly digest that's telling me that there's been a few competitive products that have been detected in my account. So this is a finding that I find often interesting because I can come in there and I can check if there are any new or emerging competitors products that our system has detected based on what I have set up on my account. And so here it's telling me that there's this product that we deem to be a new competitive product that I may want to look at. And indeed, as I open its page, I can see that it has only 8 ratings. So it's in all likelihood been a newly or recently launched product. And that's an additional way, here's another good example. This one has only 3 ratings, so it's fairly certain that it's just recently been launched. And so this is a quite helpful way to make sure that you keep an extra tab on the competitive landscape, new product launches from your competition, and so forth. Or it's not just about new competitive products, but also about emerging ones, right? There may be a few other ones that have been there for a while, but maybe they're having a massive uplift more recently. Right, here's an example. Looks like this product, we think that it's an emerging one, probably through the fact that maybe it's shot up in terms of BSR recently. Let's check this out. Yeah, you can see that it's doing fairly well in terms of BSR. It's in the top 20, top 30 in the cotton pads category. And probably what our engine detected is that maybe it's the first time that it made it there or something like that. And so we're surfacing that as an emerging competitive product.
Yeah, I find this super helpful, as obviously I'm not an Amazon seller, but purely from the perspective of understanding and getting a lot of questions from customers and prospects, right? We don't know what we don't know. How do I find out when a new product is potentially, competing with me or actively, right? So we give you kind of both sides of that, right? And Uthman, if you can maybe take a minute and explain how we arrive at these products. What are we interrogating and coming back? Is it improved category rankings? Is it all of a sudden we now see this product ranking well for a search term that you rank well for, or what's the kind of logic behind it?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of findings around potentially relevant new competitors, it's going to be a combination of what you mentioned. It's going to be the fact that maybe I'm tracking some keywords around anti-wrinkle eye cream in my workspace, and it actually happens that I'm tracking anti-wrinkle now that I'm starting to get wrinkles. I'm kidding. Keywords on my workspace. As I happen to be tracking those keywords, the system automatically finds that this product has, in all likelihood, appeared for the first time in the search results for that keyword that I'm tracking. And so as such, it may be something that I may want to look into. But it's not about search results. We also look at things like my own product. Let's say that this is my product, right? We also look at other competitors that are bidding on my product, right? And if it's the first time that we're seeing them, then there may be competitors. We look at things such as BSR, as you mentioned, and so on and so forth. So there are various sources, and we surface data here. I just want to stop for a second and mention that besides surfacing this on our UI, keep in mind that as you set up your database with DataHawk and you start accessing the data sets that we make available for you, whether it is on Power BI, on Google Data Studio, Excel, Google Sheets, anywhere you want, you're going to be able to access other data points that leverage, this kind of AI, but more on as a direct data set, as a raw data set. This actually isn't something we were thinking about discussing on the webinar, right? But I think it's pretty relevant to our discussion here around AI, right? Here I'm going to a blank Google Sheet, right? And I'm going to connect my my database powered BigQuery database to this Google Sheets document, which is entirely blank, right? And I'm actually thinking about showing you guys. I think I have a table here. There you go, called product competitors, right? And this table, right, Justine, is actually also the one that's enriching the insights that we've shown there.
Completely. It's how we actually display these. So you have access to all the raw data. It's just more nicely presented in app.
All right, perfect then. And so this is an example of how I would go about accessing that data from the database and directly maybe building a custom dashboard with it instead of relying on the UI to access it here. So here I've just created a connection between the database and this Google Sheets file, which, by the way, I can schedule to refresh every day. Let's go. Repeat every day. So every day I open this file, it's going to be automatically refreshed with recent data, and then I can go there and extract this data maybe in a new sheet like this, and start building the views that I want with it. Without diving too deep on that, just a few examples. Here I can see that here's the product that we detected. Here's the competitor. So for this product, here are the competitors that we detected, right? And here's a score, a competitiveness score. The closer it is to 1, the more relevant the competition is going to be between this product and that product, right? So this is something that can also be quite helpful to leverage the AI we've built on that front.
And then remember, there's another table there that you can add the product description, right, or the brand. So you're not just looking at an ASIN that makes no sense to you, right? You can usually add another column with the other relevant information.
Yeah. And moving on to just another quick finding here. This is another one that's helpful. We detected that these products rank for a low number of keywords. So it happens that I'm tracking products like this one, and we interrogated our database, all the keywords that we have on our database, and we think that this product isn't ranking for a significant number of keywords. We think it's ranking only for this keyword, actually. And this is something that you can start checking. Probably it's out of stock, or they're not selling it anymore, or something like that. But it's also something that can be quite helpful. So with that, we wrapped up the AI insights piece. I see we're running out of time, so let's move to the AI copywriter. So the AI copywriter's promise, as we mentioned, is to help you build better content and increase the velocity with which you build content. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to be able to search across all the products that I have on my account. So I think I have some products here from the brand VitaFusion that sells supplements. I can search for VitaFusions, and I can pick maybe this one. I see it has a short title, so it can be a good example. I select it, and then what's going to happen is that in under 45 seconds, we crunch the data and come up with suggestions. So this is the original product title: VitaFusion Women's Gummy Vitamins, 70 count. That's all. That's the current product title. This is our AI optimized one: VitaFusion Women's Gummy Vitamins, multivitamin gummies with antioxidants, vitamin C and E, natural berry flavors, 70 count, from America's #1 gummy vitamin brand. Look at that. Pretty amazing. I'd buy that. And so this is something that we do across not just the title, but also the bullet points and description. You can see a few examples here here's the original first bullet point, for instance. Here's the one that we suggest. VitaFusion Women's Multivitamin Gummies provide a delicious and complete blend of essential vitamins and minerals to support women's health. So it's also written in a way that's, I think, can yield to better conversions. And it's not as much a matter of, copy pasting this entirely, but it's more about coming up with ideas, right? And helping with creativity and being like, okay, hey, you know what? I didn't think about using this or that. They weren't using women's vitamin gummies, for instance, right? Or things like that. And if I'm unhappy with the suggestion, I can just click here and it would regenerate it. So maybe I want a new title. I click there on regenerate. It's gonna again crunch the data and come up with a recommendation.
Yeah, if I can add, I mean, one of the things to really think about is when we talk about, A/B testing and how often do you update your PDPs, we're not at all suggesting that you replace the entire page, right? And then, because you're never going to be able to track what those results were. What was it? In this case, actually in this one, or in that VitaFusion case, the first thing I would look at is the title, right? And even if you just change the title before you look, because if you make too many changes, you're never going to know what it was that worked, right? But it's the subtle changes that matter as well. So I don't think we're at all suggesting that you rewrite the entire page, unless it's crappy and it's crappy. But there's always opportunity to make subtle improvements, whether it's the title, the first bullet, or the first couple of bullets. So in this case, no doubt about it, and in the VitaFusion case, which didn't even mention vitamin C, vitamin D, or anything like that. First thing I would change is the title and give that a go. And I would bet that you're going to see much more traffic on that page, just from doing a small change like that.
Yeah. And so yeah, I don't know if we could look maybe at a couple of additional examples. And by the way, which languages do we cover with this currently, Justine? Because we expanded beyond English, right?
We cover all languages.
Okay, pretty amazing. So this is, I think it's only been since this week or maybe last week. So far we've been covering only English, and looks like more recently we cover all languages.
Yeah, since last week.
Amazing. And this is another example, a probiotic for women. You can see the current title. Here's again the AI optimized ones. You can see the bullet points, the description, and so on and so forth. So it's easy to copy paste this. There's a copy to clipboard button. I think there's been a question around whether is it possible to export this. It's not possible currently, but you have the ability to copy paste this, or you can create dedicated access. There's no limit to how many users you can have on your DataHawk account. So you can always add additional users. Potentially you can create a separate workspace that would contain only some specific data points and give access to specific people or contractors access to that. We also have a question on whether Amazon is going to be detecting the content and whether it's using AI. There's really no way for them to know that, Justine, right?
No, there's no way, and I don't think Amazon is actually against this, because they have been testing their own listing generator. So it's not live yet. I think it's live for maybe 5% of accounts, even less. Yeah. But we do see them going in this direction as well. So I don't see how they would detect and ban this kind of content.
Exactly, and there's no reason to. I mean, you know, Amazon's ultimate goal is to increase the conversions and how much revenues they extract from each visitor to their website and from each minute that they spend on their website. So to the extent that the content optimization efforts you're doing are leading to better conversion rates, it's, you know, all good for them. It's going to make them happy.
We had somebody raise their hand. Ian raised his hand. I'm going to hit the allow to talk. So I guess, Ian, I think if you unmute, you can ask a question or make a comment.
It's also possible to just ask away in the chat, actually.
Yeah, he's mute. I don't know if I can unmute him or.
So feel free to ask questions on the chat, everyone, and we'd be happy to answer. There's a Q&A section on which you can ask questions. Justine, is there anything we'd like to share in terms of roadmap when it comes to our AI efforts beyond the root cause analysis piece that we discussed on the anomaly detection?
So maybe for the AI copywriter, I just wanted to say that, so there was a question on bulk exporting. So we are working on bulk generating and bulk exporting. That way you'll be able to generate content for multiple products and export it in maybe it's going to be just a Google Sheet at first, but in an easy way. And then for insights, we are studying different things at the moment. We are looking into, of course, expanding the range of metrics that we are monitoring here. And we're also looking into different ways of being alerted, whether it is playing with the granularity of the anomaly. Could be, for example, a weekly anomaly, not a daily one. So there's many different approaches we could be taking, and that we're exploring at the moment.
There's a question that came in. Are there any plans to add AI-generated graphics recommendations to the platform? Thank you for the question, Walter.
Is there any plans to add AI-generated graphics recommendations to the platform? I'm not sure I fully understand the question. What do you think, Pierre?
Is it the image? Well, Walter, maybe you can clarify. But
maybe
the image
images
itself, or the resolution of the image. Is it? Can we detect where we see, you know, lower DPI images to call out?
Yeah, Justine, I think the question is revolving around creating images or A+ content. Yeah, Walter just confirmed.
We are not working on it at the moment, but it's a path we could start exploring. But there are no active developments going in this direction at the moment. Plans to implement the AI tool for the copy in a massive way. Yeah, that's. I think that's what I wanted to. Oh, sorry, the question is. Oh, okay, the question is there. So we are working on bulk generating content, meaning you could choose multiple products on which you want to run the algorithm on, and then be able to export it to generate, I don't know, for 20 products or different launches. How SEO optimized are those AI generated texts? Is there a way to include keywords automatically from different categories? Is there a way to manually include keywords? I'm not sure to understand. Do you mean like you'd like to input some keywords before we generate the content? So there isn't this ability at the moment, meaning that we use a selection of curated keywords that we have already pre-selected that we believe will help you have better SEO results, and on which we believe you have chances to actually rank. That's important. We look at your competition as well. But if you want to include other keywords, you can, of course, just copy paste and then tweak the generated content on your end.
Yeah, exactly.
But for now, you can't yourself add keywords you want to see there.
Yeah, so that question about how SEO optimized, it's for sure it's SEO optimized, right? Because as we explained earlier, we're bringing in those words, but to Justine's point, or you can again add whatever you want. There is no direct connection where you can push it from here right up to Amazon. So you'll have to export it and then make whatever modifications you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see right here. I mean, probiotic was 7, now it's 28, right? So there's and we know that that's a search term that drives traffic and drives product performance in that for those types of products.
I'd like to answer another question on the AI copywriter. So the question is if we take into account the Amazon's content guide guidelines with regard to the callouts, and the answer is yes. So you can find all the guidelines we strive to apply directly on the page, and we specifically take into account a list of restricted keywords for the product, meaning that it is taken into account to not include them in there. Guillermo is asking, is there a way to link DataHawk to the Seller Central account and that suggested copies can be uploaded to our account via API? So for now, the copies are only accessible via the interface. So you wouldn't find them in a database or in a way that you could push them via the API. That's an interesting idea, though, to be able to automate this process of generating to publishing. Maybe that could be a path we explore. We do have a habit of exposing all the data we use. So I wouldn't be surprised if AI copywriters data ends up on your available on your what is it called, on your database, the one you can access to.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to pushing the data to Amazon and applying the change, I think eventually everyone would want to make some tiny changes, at least some tiny changes, if not some significant changes to what's being recommended. With this product, we don't think that it's as much a matter of you agreeing with 100% of the content that's being suggested, but it's more about accelerating and helping you with creativity so that you can accelerate those content optimization efforts and maybe make some tiny adjustments and then elect to make the change on your listings.
And optimizing your SEO, of course.
Yep.
But yeah, for now, it's not doable yet.
Thank you, Walter. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I think
thanks everyone for the questions.
We're getting over on the time, but I think you'll get a questionnaire and I guess a link to the recording. So certainly give us feedback, not only on this session and this nice chat that we've had, but also on other topics, things that you think are important for us to cover with you. Always looking for new ideas, and we want to do this on a more regular basis, of course, only if we're providing the value.
And if your customers with us, feel free to reach out to our customer success team if you need any help and training on using these features, or if you have any questions or feedback, as Pierre mentioned. If you're not yet a DataHawk customer, but you liked what you see, you want to dive deeper on demo, feel free to visit datahawk.co/demo and book a time for us to connect.
Yep, we'll take 30 minutes and we'll scope it to your needs. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Justine, awesome
Thank you for
job.
the time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for your time. Bye.
Great job, everyone. Thank you. Cheers. We'll talk soon.